You're welcome back from that quick timeout. It's still Daybreak here on Trust Television. And like I said before we went on break, we're going to be doubling back on our conversation on certificate racketeering in Nigeria, where, we had a phone call, we had our phone segment where everybody aired their thoughts and their opinions on it. And we're looking at the fake degrees phenomenon, where the federal government fired civil servants with subpar certificates. Now, the federal government has sacked civil servants with degrees from private universities in Benin Republic and Togo. This comes after a ban on accreditation of degrees from these universities following an investigation that exposed certificate racketeering. A daily Nigerian journalist revealed how a degree was obtained in 2 months, and he used that degree that he obtained in 2 months from Benin Republic for the National Youth Service Corps scheme. The government has set up an interministerial committee to probe the activities of certificate racketeers, and we're going to be looking at that and everything concerning it, the educational system in general, what led to this, and the way forward. Now in the studio we have Miss Teni Enemona Alfa. She is an educationist. It's good to have you this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So let's just go straight into it now. What's your take on this whole certificate racketeering saga and the government's response to it?
Honestly, my first response was the government is doing a good job. Then I can't just say the government is doing a good job without not feeling the pains of the people that had to go through this process. I know someone that actually got a hit from this racketeering news. I was so shocked because I know him personally. I know how he worked so hard for it, how he would come on holidays and he would start doing lessons for children to enable him have enough resources to go on with his pursuit in Togo, to be precise. And unfortunately, he is one of those affected by this racketeering monitoring. It's good on the part of the government, what they are trying to do. I see it like a form of trying to restructure the educational system. But to me, it's a superficial solution to something that has a superficial solution to a profound problem. It has to be a profound solution to a profound problem. Why? Why are they leaving? Why are people going outside Nigeria to get certificates? That should be the issue. Even if this comes up as one of banning them, it's fine. You are going to ban them. There's a short-term implication and there's a long-term implication. First, the people that are going there, like the parents now, they must have spent a lot for their wards to go to those institutions to study. How will they feel? This could affect a person's mental health, This is like cutting someone's life short. That is for those that did it. Then if we are looking at it in a bigger picture, if you are saying one person, if you are to carry out a research, there's population and there is sampling. And if you are to carry out a research, the news we got was that over 22,500 certificates are being prone to scrutiny. Now you got just one person out of 22,500 certificates. Are we saying that this one sample represents the whole 22,500 population of people that have gone to Togo and Benin to study? It's good what they are trying to do, but we need more evidence, more proof to see that, yes, these certificates from these institutions are actually fake.
Okay, so what question does that put on our education system? Because at this point in time, like you said, it's more like a systemic problem.
Yes, it is.
It's beyond just looking at this initial, sacking people with certificates from these universities is like a drop in the ocean.
It is.
I dare to say that, because why go there in the first place? So what's your take on our educational system, especially when it comes to the tussle of getting admission into the universities in the first place? I would say that's probably what pushed people to want to study in this place. Although we also have those who have the ulterior motive of not wanting to study, but just want to acquire certificates. A quick digression before I get to my question. I had a lecturer back then in school that gave the option. He said, students, would you rather pick up a certificate at the gates of the university and go home, Or would you rather come into the school, wait for 4 years and take your certificate? More than half of the class said they'll pick it up at the gate and go home because they were exhausted of the stress of being in school and how cumbersome simple processes in universities are being made very complex. How cumbersome it is to even get admission in the first place. You find cases of fake admission happening in schools. Now, what does this have to say about our educational system? And people are also saying that statistical racketeering is also happening in Nigeria. Putting all this together, what does this have to say about our educational system in Nigeria as a whole?
Like I stated earlier, these are profound scenarios. Like, it's not superficial. So the problem starts from our educational system. What is happening in our educational system? What is the lifestyle of an average lecturer in the university system? Let's start from there. Because there's something about a hungry man is an angry man. I was fortunate to visit a particular university's, should I call it estates now? And I was shocked at what I saw, a professor's lodge. And it got me thinking, like, how can this work? A professor in this kind of settlement? What will happen in the classroom? Let's start from there. The lecturers, most of them are not being paid the way they are meant to be paid. What are the incentives being put in place for them to have that lifestyle that will make them walk with their shoulders high and dedicate their full self to the job? It starts from there. Then the system itself. We talk about ASU strikes everywhere. The last time we checked, we said there was increase in unity schools, universities, federal universities. Everything was hiked. Did we think about the common man? Did we think like, okay, those that are from the average family, average background people, there are people that don't even have parents to take care of them. There are adults that would still want to go back to school. Will they be able to fund those bills? Is it reasonable? Is it inter them with the lifestyle of a common Nigerians? These new fees that have been put in place in university. Then going back to ASU strike, the last time the ASU strike occurred was it not 14th February 2022, and it ended October 14th, 2022. That's like 8 months. So how would a parent feel looking at your child sitting in your house and not going to school, just staying there doing nothing for 8 months? It tells a lot. It tells a whole lot. The work needs to be done from home. And I'm still of the opinion that if my home is very comfortable, let's relate it to the educational system. If our educational system has the right things in place, these policies, the implementation for our students, I don't think anyone would want to go outside. It's because some things are lacking. Some things are lacking. The duration and how the lecturers are being tended to. If those two things are not in place, in fact, there's an institution I went to, and there's not even, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but there's no place for the students to ease themselves. No restroom. There are structures, no restroom. What about our epileptic power supply? It still affects our educational system. The educational system of this generation is not what we used to have back in the day. We need data, we need power. You see projectors are not functioning, the boards are not functioning. You are going to the university system, you now have to gather to buy writing materials for the school as a student. This is not what students are meant to do. This is what our own government is supposed to give for free for the students, to make students enjoy learning in our own system of education.
So at this point, what are those holistic approaches you think could be done to encourage our education system? You know, I spoke about the tussle of getting admission. I remember those days when you write JAM and admission comes to you on merit.
Yes.
You don't need to stress yourself. You know that you wrote it, you studied hard, you wrote it, and you would get admission on merit. At this point, people just look at it, may the best sorter win for admissions, because I have younger ones. I experienced admission on merit. I have younger ones, and there's nothing like merit, I dare to say. It has to be, oh, who do you know in that school to help you get admission? Would you say this attitude is what is fueling students to actually leave to private institutions and even outside the country to acquire certificates?
Now, that could be a major issue, fueling them to go outside to get certificates from other institutes. Now, I won't just give it to just the government, like the governments are the ones trying to. At that point, I say the government have their part, but even the parents too do have a part to play in terms of integrity. Like, I have been fortunate to get admission like 2 times in 2 different universities. I didn't know anybody, as at that time I wrote and I got those admissions. Now, what is, as I said, what is prompting people to go outside Nigeria? It's not just about the fact that you have to pay to get admission. Our policies in education. How is it possible that you go to a school and you are the one still buying things to be used in the classroom? One, I go into school this year, I'm applying for a 4-year course duration. I end up staying in that school for 8 years because the government is not meeting up to the requirements by the body that you know, the ASO story. We all know all this. So what are we saying? It's not just about the government, the idea of going to pay for admission. And there are other things those parents are looking out for, like the duration of time and the quality. The quality here is being affected by the standard of living of the lecturers. Yeah. So there's no way you go to a class, you know you have bills to pay, no, you can't even afford your basic needs. There's no way you go to class happy and you deliver in same pace and manner in which would affect the life of the students positively.
All right. When it comes to that attitude of lecturers, I know I experienced a lecturer whom the note I used in my 100 level is the same note that, you know, the people in 400 level used, and for them was the same note. So I just took the 100 level notes and I was good to go. And but the only part that warmed me was, how are you dictating the same notes for the past 8 years from your head? That's quite good of you to have that in your head.
It's a factor of getting used to the notes, recalling, repeating, memorizing, because you are used to the pattern.
And no research is being done.
And no research, and the lifestyle of today is not what we have now. Is not what we have back then when we were in school. So you can't tell me same topics can be approached in same manner. No, it clearly states that that man or that person is not happy in their job. They are not getting the right remuneration to make them deliver or do research.
Okay, so now that this issue of certificate racketeering is out, and we've seen that Nigerians are actually going to these countries to obtain fake certificates. Aside those who are going there to genuinely school, we find that there are also people who are going there to obtain that certificate in 2 weeks.
2 months.
Or 2 months rather. So what does this have to say about the integrity of our educational system in Nigeria?
It starts with everybody at this point. We keep talking about the government. What about you as a person? What do you want for yourself? How do you go and just go to, which skill do you even learn in 2 months that will make you prepared for the life outside that skill? First of all, we look at the integrity of the individual. If the person is like under the guidance of parents or guardians, you understand, then who are their parents? Then what was happening to you? Like, you just go and give them money to get certificates? Then we have to start looking at something else in the educational system. It's not just about presenting your certificate. Are you able to defend this certificate? Are you able to have skills that match up to this certificate? There are people back then when we were in school, there were people that were really, really reading. You could see them reading, going to library, and you could still see some set of people that will form chains and cliques and do whatever they can do to, you know, get that grade. So if you have such kind of people, like you earlier mentioned that someone was dictating, so that person is going to dictate. the kind of knowledge and skill that particular lecturer, that kind of grade of results will give you is dictation. While the other person that has taken their time to do the work, we obviously want to do more research, want to see what is happening around the world to pass it on.
All right, now let's talk about verification process. This certificate went through the National Youth Service School. It was used there. And what this certificate, for them to be seeing it in civil service, it means it was also used there. What do you have to say about our verification process, and what are the most effective, what do you think should be the most effective method for verifying academic certificates?
For me, I'd suggest, one, the school the person attended, the years, what course, because most times whatever you go to study determines the level of years you spend in the university. Okay, you studied, okay, let's say you went to study something that has to do with agric. Most people that go through that get to spend 5 years in school. So how are you able to go and attend a school of agriculture and leave within 2 years? So there's something wrong. So there's a synergy that has to come from the government, the school, and the NYSC. So the three bodies need to work together to come to a resolution of what should be placed. Then what was actually bothering my mind about the racketeering was these people that went to that school, is it that they didn't make findings to find out schools that are accredited in those neighborhoods, that's Togo and Benin? Didn't they find out to check, to know? That goes still, I'll say everyone should be vigilant, because they can't just bring a certain admission to you because of money. You just go and pay, and check within yourself and ask. The internet, yes, Google is your friend. Make good use of it. You can get a whole lot from Google, and the government needs to do a whole lot to stop people from leaving our own country to other countries, because most times when they go, some don't even come back. That's a serious brain drain too.
True that. Now finally, before we go, this would be something to conclude on. What role do you think our government can play in collaborating with international partners, to boost our own educational system, enhance credibility of our educational system, and take a deeper look into racketeering?
First of all, I'll commend the government for doing this, and they should not just focus on those going outside Nigeria. It's happening here too, even some Nigerian universities. Then so far from the research I've done, UNESCO has told the government to always subject a part of our budget to 25% allocation to the educational system. Now, if they allocate those funds, they should make sure it is actually implemented. Right. And when implementing, they should work with international bodies, and some private sectors are doing very well when it comes to education. They can partner with them and see how they are bringing about change.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a very enlightening and eye-opening conversation with you this morning. Thank you so much, Miss Teni and Enemona Alfa. It's good to have you in the studio this morning.
It's good to be here.
Well, we're just having a conversation with Miss Teni and Enemona Alfa. She's an educationist, and she shared her thoughts on, job certificate racketeering, the education system in general, and roles that could be played by different, from the government to international partners, even to you as Nigerians. We hope we've been able to keep you informed and you've been able to get something out of our conversation this morning. But do not go anywhere. We'll be right back, where we're going to be looking at stories that have made it to the front pages of our newspapers this morning. Do stay tuned.